Please share your thoughts in comments and like this video.
Raizel, the strongest human in his world, was summoned to another world by the goddess. But he was exiled when they thought that he had zero combat power without heeding his words. He escaped from the king's assassination and made his way to the demon castle to collect the information about this new world. He came to know the truth that he was originally summoned as a sacrifice to the combined hero. He decided to take revenge on the goddess by making the demon lord powerful than her hero. They both agreed to the deal, and Raizel decided to start the training in a Spartan style. She asked him to do it in moderation from the start as she was afraid of the word Sparta. Raizel asked her for a place to train. He wanted to have a simulation battle to analyze her current level. The demon lord pondered about it and mentioned that there is indeed one place which was a few kilometers away. She showed it in the map Raizel had. Even though it was far, Raizel had his own way to solve it. He held her close to him and she wondered if they were really going to fly this close. Raizel confirmed it and started his magic without her concern. He traveled from the demon lord's castle to the training ground within a few seconds. As they reached there, the demon lord was out of breath due to the shock. She also felt dizzy and vomited in a corner. She couldn't understand what magic it was as they traveled at a speed of flash. She overcame it as she was used to being surprised. She inquired about the device Raizel installed there, which he had taken from his storage. Raizel explained that it was a phantom world where the people outside of it would see them like they were only doing light exercises. Raizel installed it so that she wouldn't have to worry about her subordinates watching her lose. She thanked him for being considerate, but deep down she exasperated at the trashy effects of that device. As she could chit-chat now, Raizel asked if she was ready. The demon lord agreed as well, but mentioned that she was going all out this time. Thus the simulation battle between the summoned hero, Raizel, and the demon lord began. The demon lord pondered about where Raizel would start to attack. She was confident that she would be able to stop any attacks, but decided to deflect it to another direction as a later choice. But Raizel disappeared from her sight. Raizel's mana spread around the air to conceal his presence. She won't be able to hit him when she can't even sense his presence. She decided to focus, believing that Raizel would gather his magic at one spot to attack. As she felt the magic behind her, she turned to attack. She activated her magic, but an object hit behind her head and fell down. It was a sports ball, but she still felt the pain when hit by that. Raizel mentioned that the ball would disappear in 3 seconds and asked her to dodge it first. As she heard the message by telepathy, she pondered about a way to dodge the ball. But Raizel mentioned that he was just using his body-strengthening magic in a mocking manner. He wanted to see how the demon lord would look when she was serious, which she mentioned before the fight. She was clearly mad and mentioned that she would dodge it for sure. Some time passed and the demon lord was somehow able to block it. Raizel then decided to check her magic firepower and asked her to use whatever magic she wanted. The demon lord could see that Raizel had been dropping his speed, but it was not known whether it was intended or not. She decided to focus on accuracy rather than firepower so as not to miss the target. She created a frame cannon magic all around her and focused on his movement. Seeing the cannon magic, Raizel decided to raise a simple barrier just in case it did hit him. As the demon lord finally found his location, she fired her magic at him. It caused an enormous explosion upon its impact and created a smokescreen. The demon lord asked Raizel how her attack was. But unknown to her, Raizel was shocked to see that she managed to damage his barrier. She came running towards him to inquire about the results but fell down to her knees halfway because she was exhausted. Raizel was still in shock as one needed quite a large amount of mana to destroy a 3-dimensional barrier with 2-dimensional magic. He certainly didn't raise a weak barrier, but he couldn't believe that she overcame the gap by just putting in enough mana. He extended his hand to help her stand up as she was still happy to hit him. He wondered how much firepower she could display with stronger magic. He complimented her and asked her to attack his whole barrier next. She asked for a timeout as she needed time to recompose herself. After a short break, she asked Raizel what he meant about a barrier. He asked her again to attack his barrier with her strongest magic. She wondered if it was really alright as her strongest magic would blow up the entire area. Raizel assured her to not worry as his barrier could absorb any attack. The demon lord is happy as she would be finally able to use her full strength in a battle and wonders how irregular Raizel is going to be. She launched her most powerful magic at Raizel. But much to her shock, her attack was absorbed completely as it was slurping a noodle. Raizel asked if that was all, and the demon lord confirmed it and asked him if he had any problems with her result. She thought that she hadn't reached his expectations. She fell down when Raizel mentioned that there was no need to worry. He said that he understood one thing clearly and tried to say it, but then remembered that he hadn't asked her name. The demon lord teased him for someone who sees nothing in his dreams. As it was also her fault for not mentioning it before, she introduced herself as the demon lord Mersha. She asked Raizel for help to defeat the combined hero. Raizel mentioned that there's no need to feel down as she already had extremely strong magic powers. But her techniques on magic formations still need to be worked on. Mersha didn't understand any of it and asked him to make it simpler. Raizel explained with a tank and hose as an example that one could increase the pressure of the water by pressing the end. For example, a human couldn't even begin to compare their mana to a dragon, but by practicing one's magic control, anyone could do the impossible. A dragon couldn't use complicated spells, so a human could win by using that. Basically, it means that Mersha, who had high magical output, could grow a lot stronger than an average person. Raizel decided to teach her three-dimensional magic first, but she didn't know what it meant. He needed to make up for the lack of knowledge and explained that two-dimension magic would only be able to create one layer, where in three-dimensional magic, the potential is unlimited. It basically means that she could make the magic become as large as she wants. Mersha understood the importance of third-dimensional magic, but she wondered how she would be able to use that as she couldn't even use analysis to understand it. Raizel mentioned that he was also not able to use it since birth and he had a method of training for it. Mersha berated him for not telling her this first. But she still had one question. She wondered why Raizel wanted to train her when his goal was to return to his own world. He could just go and kill that hero himself to solve the problem. Raizel mentioned that there was two reasons why he was not doing that. First, he wanted to show gratitude to Mersha for sharing the information with him. And the second, he wanted to bring her to his world as a party member after making her stronger. But of course, if only Mersha wished to go along with him. He mentioned that he had an opponent he couldn't beat himself and he always needed a second hand in defeating that guy. He wanted to recruit someone worthy, and that's why he came to this world. But Mersha wondered if she would be able to face someone even when Raizel couldn't defeat it. Raizel assured that she was perfect as he confirmed it already in the simulation battle just now. Even though he knew it was a difficult request as Mersha is a demon lord who had to look after her people. But contrary to his expectations, Mersha agreed to go along with him. Though Raizel was doing this to thank her, she felt like getting help for free. So she decided to help him as she didn't like to owe favors. Raizel thanked her as she agreed, but she mentioned that there was something she needed to ask about. Mersha had a younger sister about the same level as her, but she got a mysterious illness and her body had been getting weaker ever since. Mersha liked to have her sister as the demon lord candidate after her departure. But at this rate, her sister wouldn't be suitable for any combat-related duties. She asked Raizel for help and hoped that he could treat her. Although medicine was not his expertise, Raizel agreed to help what he could. Mersha urged Raizel to use his flight magic as soon as possible as they wanted to go to her sister's room. It was located below her throne room where they met. But Raizel teased her not to vomit this time and Mersha felt dizzy just thinking about it. Raizel decided to use a portal instead of flight magic this time in consideration. Mersha's sister, Cecil, had the same characteristics as Mersha and she was reading a book to pass the time. Suddenly a portal appeared in her room which startled her. She thought it was an attack from the enemy. She wondered about the possibility of it happening as the castle was already under her sister's barrier. But she was totally surprised when Mersha made an appearance from the portal carried by a man. Mersha apologized for surprising her. But Cecil wanted to know the identity of the man behind her and how they managed to use teleport. Because she thought Mersha's magic was always perfect. Mersha introduced Raizel like in a novel, exclaiming that he was the strongest man from another world. She went to explain about how he managed to destroy her barrier and erased her attack magic. In the end, she exclaimed Raizel as a stupidly strong guy. Raizel asked her if she wasn't embarrassed and she also admitted it as she just belittled herself to highlight him. Mersha explained that he brought him there in hopes of curing Cecil's illness. Mersha asked her to accept the treatment from him and she accepted it as well based on Mersha's words. It showed how much Cecil believed Mersha. So they decided to start the treatment. Raizel introduced himself to Cecil and began his treatment. Mersha asked him to be careful since Cecil had a frail body unlike her. After checking, Raizel found that Cecil had hardened mana veins which totally shocked Mersha as she didn't hear about such an illness. It was a symptom where the people would have a stickier mana than normal, which affects the magic output in their mana circuits. Cecil asked him if it was a difficult illness to treat. Raizel assured her to not worry as he picked medicine from his storage. It was a common disease in his world and all it needed was some medicine to fix it. The medicine is an artificial nanovirus that would smoothen the man inside the body. It would take time to show effects, but it was enough to take one tablet as it would be in effect for the rest of their life. Mersha and Cecil were shocked to hear this good news. Raizel asked Cecil to swallow the tablet. Cecil turned to ask for Mersha's opinion. As Mersha allowed it, Cecil ate the medicine in one go. After consuming it, Mersha asked her about the effects, but Cecil didn't feel any notable changes in her body. Mersha shouted at Raizel as the medicine wasn't working and he reminded her that it would take a few days. Seeing their desperation, Raizel decided to advance Cecil's body for a few days and activated his magic and skipped about a week. Afterwards, Cecil felt her flow of mana inside was completely different from before. They both were happy as they cured Cecil's long-last illness and Raizel felt happy as well as one of the problems had been solved. Afterwards, Cecil tried to use her magic as she was cured. She successfully reverted the vase to its original material. Raizel was amazed to see Cecil using high-level magic without breaking a sweat. Cecil was also happy as it was her first time. The sisters once again happy as Cecil was cured and Cecil cleaned the nose of crying Mersha. Raizel explained that bad monasterol was an element that messed up Cecil's magic veins. Everyone has it regardless of whether it's apparent or not. But if they took his medicine, it would enable them to use magic so smoothly like never before. Mersha wondered why he was explaining all that. Raizel revealed that their whole troops power up instantly if they consumed those. Though it was shocking, Mersha wondered if it was possible to mass-produce those medicines even in their world. Raizel told them that there was no need to produce it as he had already stored a huge amount of those medicines. He had published it to the market for the children living in a country of poverty. Mersha could say it was a failed business in his world. Irrespective of that, she needed any help she could get to power up her troops and Raizel was glad that he could help. Mersha got those medicines and went out to distribute them. Raizel talked with Cecil about his plans of making Mersha his companion. Cecil mentioned that it would be difficult. As Misha was the strongest in this nation and everyone believed her and above all, Cecil felt that she would be lonely. But if Raizel really needed Mersha's help, Cecil agreed to not interfere if her sister agreed to go with him. Cecil prepared to work hard for her sister's share too and Raizel found her reliable. He asked Cecil if she had any experience in governing and learned that she had no experience in it. Raizel took out another educational magic tool called a simulator. With that, she could be able to obtain knowledge from all kinds of experts. While they were talking, Mersha entered the room after distributing all of the medicines. Cecil welcomed her and she wondered what was going on. As per his instinct, Raizel caught her and mentioned that she came at a perfect time. He wanted to draw her memories and Mersha also agreed to it. Afterwards, she was shocked as she realized what he meant by. Raizel assured her to not worry as her memories won't disappear and the simulator would only copy her experiences. He handed her the device to use it and Mersha realized that it was a device which uses her memory as a teaching material. Raizel was glad that Mersha was quick to catch on. Mersha couldn't believe that Raizel was even capable of that. Raizel countered that it was due to the gap in their civilization. Mersha decided to help her sister and agreed to copy her memories. He set up the device and activated it. The device's requirements were all checked. Mersha's memories was imported into the device and Cecil marveled the sight before her. The device imported all the memories and thus the simulator for the leader of the demons had been completed. Raizel asked Cecil to press the red magic crystal in center to activate it. When Cecil pressed it, a screen was displayed with Mersha's image on it and both was surprised. It asked a question about how Cecil would handle the last year's famine. Cecil selected the option 3 but the situation didn't get any better. So she decided to go with option 2 this time. Mersha and Raizel watched the cute Cecil working on her homework. In the end, option 2 was the correct choice. Mersha mentioned that they actually implemented that solution and Cecil praised her. Raizel explained that's how Cecil would gain experience. Cecil said that she would do her best for the present and for the future. With that, Mersha knew that Raizel told her about her plans to go with him and mentioned she would rely on her. The next day, Raizel and Mersha began their stage 2 training to surpass the combined hero. Mersha worried whether it was fine to do their training in indoors. Raizel assured her not to worry as they would be using the magic repeller. Mersha find it cute based on the shape of the device. Raizel explained that the magic repeller would repels magic inside the room, making a room with low magic density. To do that, it would also dissolve the magic inside an organism as well. Mersha asked Raizel if it would affect the body as it would be disturb the flow of mana. Raizel mentioned that in a worst-case scenario, she would die if left alone with that. Mersha was shocked to hear that. Raizel found her reaction funny as always and asked her to not worry as they won't go that far. Her current assignment was to prevent her magic from leaving her body and control it using her own will. If she made even a little mistake, the complicated high-level magic circle would become useless. So Raizel asked her to control the magic in the most delicate way. He asked her to try lighting up the candle in her current situation. Mersha exclaimed that it was a simple matter and went on to light the candle. But it disappeared as soon as it lit. She tried to do it again and failed. She gone so mad that she cursed that candle and lighted it. But she lost control in a minute and the light weared off. She throwed a fit and cried as her magic was dissipating again and again. Raizel teased her if she was going to give up. Hearing that, she refused to give up and decided to try until she could. Raizel praised her spirit and she shouted with a renewed determination. That's when Cecil knocked at the door as she had brought refreshments. Raizel asked her to be silent as he showed Mersha training. Seeing Mersha training so hard, they both smiled. As Mersha struggling, Cecil gave the tray to Raizel. She went ahead and sat opposite to Mersha and she began to study about management with the device Raizel gifted. Both of the sisters began to work hard and Raizel began to distribute their refreshments to them. After numerous number of tries, Mersha finally managed to light up the candle. Mersha and Cecil celebrated it. Raizel praised her for doing it as it was just her first time. There's no magic leaking and fire was also not going out, which was amazing. Mersha was proud as she did what she said she would. Mersha lied down as she felt tried. But Raizel decided to move to even more complex magic for her to learn. He asked Mersha to inform him when she was ready to use attack magic as he would teleport her to the arena again. Mersha asked him to teach her anti-travel sickness magic before that. On the other hand, Cecil was also willing to go there. Seeing that, Mersha exclaimed that Cecil had indeed become strong. After a month passed, Mersha and Raizel were training in the arena. Mersha practiced the magic taught to her by Raizel. She managed to successfully manifest the magic and Raizel found it satisfying that she cast a complicated magic successfully. Mersha deactivated her magic and was proud of herself as she just used activation and deactivation perfectly. Raizel praised her for achieving that with a month and decided to switch off the magic repeller device. Mersha knew that they didn't come to arena just to test her control. Raizel also agreed with that and casted a magic to create a solid wooden wall. He decided to teach solid magic to her. Mersha was amazed to see it. Raizel explained that it was the basics of solid magic. Mersha concluded solid magic as something where multiple layers of magic were stacked up on surface to form a solid body. Raizel explained that the solid magic need to be formed instantly. Building it one by one would be time-consuming and it would also crumble if they were hurt halfway through. Raizel inquired Mersha if she could do it. She was confident in her abilities so she agreed. She repeatedly spoke to herself that she could do it if she tried it. She casted the solid magic successfully and Raizel noticed that her concentration and the details of the wall were good. As she finished it, Raizel once again praised her. She exclaimed that it had to be expected as she was a demon lord. Seeing her talk like that, Raizel decided to check the wall she had carefully constructed. She was shocked to hear that and Raizel used his magic on it which created a huge explosion. Mersha was shocked to see that there was not even a scratch on the wall as it managed to stop Raizel's attack. Raizel mentioned that the new magic was 100 times greater than the two-dimensional shield. He asked Mersha's opinion about it. She felt that it was amazing but she still couldn't believe that she managed to build that from the scratch. Raizel asked her to add more layer to the magic as it was just a solid magic now. She began to do as Raizel instructed and created a new big shield. Mersha asked Raizel to take a look at it as she managed to create it and he gave a passing mark for that. She felt tired and lied down. That magic used a lot of concentration in a short amount of time. He complimented her once again and used recovery magic on her. He decided to give more practice about teaching control and the application of solid magic tomorrow as well. He asked Mersha if she need a break but she denied it. She exclaimed that she doesn't have a luxury to take it easy. Raizel always liked this characteristics of her. He decided to go a little harder on her this time. Although she was a little nervous, Mersha asked him to come at her. Thus the training progressed for Mersha, the demon lord who was trained by the exiled hero. Like and subscribe to see more interesting stories like this, and click on notifications icon to know more about this story.